All right, so in this video, we're going to be looking at Roman numerals and converting Roman numerals to regular numbers and also converting decimal numbers in the decimal system, in the Arabic system, into Roman numerals. So the conversions basically are going to involve the letter I being equal to 1, V being equal to 5, X being equal to 10, L being equal to 50, C being equal to 100, D being equal to 500, and M being equal to 1000. Now, there's also a trick in Roman numerals where if you want to make a number bigger than what you could normally get through these standard number units, you can put a bar over the number and then it will become a 1,000 times larger than what is represented there. And so if you put 2 bars over it, you're multiplying by 1,000,000 and so forth. So we'll come back around to that when we have to deal with really big numbers. But most of the time, we aren't going to be representing really, really large numbers like the population of the United States or anything in Roman numerals. All right, so let's just start with the fact that when we're doing Roman numerals, there are some tricky parts to Roman numerals. When it was a little more straightforward when it was originally invented, I think, but they developed some little idiosyncrasies in order to kind of save space. So you will copy the unit, like if you're doing a 1 or a 10 or 100 or 1,000, up to 3 times in order to get representations of 2 or 3. But when you get to 4, you don't do 4 copies of the 1. You do 1 copy less of the next thing up, which is 5. So there's a relationship between Roman numerals and an abacus. If you've ever seen an abacus, they have like 5 things on the bottom and then 1 thing on the top, or 2 things on the top to represent multiples of 5s and 1s. But it's very unusual for us. So let's just think about I is 1. Great. If I want to get 2, I copy that. I is 3. But here's the tricky part. When I get to 4, I don't do I don't do 4 I's. Instead, I do 1 less than 5. Now, the way the system works is that if you do a smaller number after a larger number, then it's an addition. But if you do a smaller number before a larger number, it's subtraction. But you can't just do this willy-nilly. You can't take like 1 away from 100. You have to do the next level down. So 5 would just be V. VI would be 6. VII would be 7. VIII is 8. And then, and think about it in units of 10. IX, 1 less than 10 is 9. And then X is 10. So again, the sort of weird numbers, XL is 40, while LX is 60. CD is 400, but DC is 600. CM is 900. 100 less than 1,000, I can do that. XC is 90. But I can't do IC to be 99. That's not allowed. 1 less than 100 is, in fact, 99, but I actually am not allowed to do that. I would have to do XCIX to do 99. So again, think about the subtraction rules only work essentially in one 10-digit place. You can't take a ones and subtract it from the hundreds digit. You can only take a 10 and subtract it from the hundreds digit. Okay, so there is a little weird. You can take a 1 and subtract it from 5, but I can't say IL. IL, because that's not 49. It seems like it ought to be, but L is in the tens place, and I can only subtract X from it. So to get 49, I would have to do XL to get 40, and then IX to get the 9. Again, the Roman system is really weird. I cannot fathom doing addition in this without also learning how to use an abacus, because the systems really are intended to be used together. But we're not going to do addition or multiplication, especially in this. We're just going to convert numbers. So let's think about a number like convert 2,748 to Roman numerals. All right, so we don't have to like work backward like we do in converting between bases or anything. We can just start converting from our main digits. So 2,000 is MM, 700 would be a 500 and then 2 100s. 40 would be XL because that's how we do 40, 10 less than 50, and then 8 would be VIII. If we wanted to do the year that I was born, which was 1972, we would have 1,000 and then 900. 900 would be CM, so that's again 1 less than 1,000. That's the 900. 70 would be 50 plus 20 XX, and then 2 would be II. So when I first heard about Live Golf, I immediately thought, oh, this is equal to 54. What the hell does that mean? Because I was thinking of it in terms of like the Super Bowl numbering system, right? No, apparently not. But anyway, so we have these Roman numeral representations. If I wanted to, let's say, talk about, again, a bigger number than, let's say, 3,000 and change, if I wanted to go beyond that, then as I mentioned, you can add a multiplier bar above all of the numbers that will then essentially multiply them by 1,000. So I times 1,000, I with a bar over it, where's my bar? I with a bar over it is equal to M. And so that's because it's 1 times 1,000. That's what the bar does. So if I need a number that is bigger than 1,000, I can use this trick in order to write down the number. So let's say I want to convert 500 and 2,000 749 to Roman numerals. So essentially what I can do is I can first just look at the 502. And how would I write 502? That would be 502, and then I would put a bar over that for my 502,000, and then I would write the rest of this DCC, that's my 700, 49, 40, and then 9. This would be the equivalent also of writing D with a bar over it, which would just be the 500,000, and then DCC XLIX. These are, again, equivalent representations in Roman numerals. Either one of these is fine. And again, if you needed to go larger, like, 300 million, let's say, so then you would take your 300, which would be CCC, and you would not put one bar over it. You would put 2 bars over it, because each bar is going to represent times 1,000. And so 300 times 1,000 is 300,000. And to get to 300 million, I would multiply by one more copy of 1,000. So that would get me 300 million. Now, if I want to convert back, I just kind of have to keep in mind where I'm adding and where I'm subtracting. So convert the number MDCCC LXIV to Arabic numerals, which is the standard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that we usually use. So that would be M is 1,000, and then DCCC, that's 800, and then LX is 60, and then IV, remember that's 1 less than 5, which would be 4. So that'd be 1864. And then let's just do one more. So convert the number, and let's do a biggish one. CDLXXX MDC LVIII to Arabic numerals. So CD, that's C is smaller than D. That's 100 versus 500. So that's 400. And then LXXX is 50 plus 80. So 50 plus 30, which is 80. And then that's all times 1,000. But I still have 2 more thousands in my MM. And now my last 3 digits will be DC, which is the 500 is the D. And so since the C is after it, that's more. So that's a 6. And then there's an L, which is just a 5 for the 50 range. And then VIII is 8. All right. Now, often in like textbooks, very, very old books, they used to actually print the publication date in Roman numerals for who knows what reason. And of course, in really, really old buildings, you'll often see um, dates in Roman numerals that are like on the cornerstone or whatever. Uh, we don't really do that anymore, at least not very often. But you will still see Roman numerals pop up, obviously, um, in particularly in like outlines or things like that. Major headers, although you don't usually have all that many headers or subsections. You will also sometimes, of course, still see them in the front material before you start numbering 1, 2, 3, 4. Prologues and introduction sections and tables of contents and things like that. All that stuff that appears at the beginning of a book often will be represented in Roman numerals, but in lowercase letters. So IV instead of capital I, capital V. And XIII is like 13 and so forth. And so you'll see those numbers still showing up in textbook pages, in particular in that front section.